The first question on the AFM review for the statistics test asks you to make a line plot. A line plot is when you use symbols to indicate how many in each category there are. For example, we have 5 categories. We have Batman, the Flash, Green Lantern, the Justice League, and Superman. 5 different categories of comic books, and it tells us how many of each one there are. So for Batman, there are 6. So you can use X's, checks, boxes, circles, whatever you want. I'll just use checks. Since there are 6 Batman comics, I'll place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 checks under Batman. Flash just has 1 comic, so we'll just give 1 check. Green Lantern has 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Justice League has 3, 1, 2, 3. Superman has 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's how you do a line plot. You put your different categories at the bottom and then use some kind of symbol. You can be creative if you want, or just use standard X's or checks or something like that to indicate how many things are in each category. Okay, the following list represents the attendance at the Kentucky Derby over the past 15 years in thousands. So we need to find all this information: the range, the mean, the median, and the mode. The easiest way to do this is to use your calculator. So I'm going to go to Stat and plug all these in. Remember, if you want to clear out your table, you go up and hit Clear and then Enter. Don't delete. Then you can plug in your data. Now that they're all plugged in, we can go to Stat and then Calc and use that one variable statistics. Make sure it says whatever list you plugged it into. Usually it'll be L1. And hit Enter. First it asks for the range. The range is the biggest minus the smallest. If you scroll down, you can find your max and your min. Our max is 165, our minimum is 108. So 165 minus 108 gives us 57 for the range. The mean is the X bar. So if you look up all the way at the top, X bar is the very first thing, and it's 143.8. The median is also given. If you scroll back down, it's right in between Q1 and Q3. The median is 148. And for the mode, you just have to look at the list and see which one appears most often. It appears to me that the only duplicates are 151. That shows up twice. Everything else just shows up once. So that is our mode because it appears more often than any other. Okay, so now we need to construct a frequency distribution table of the data using class sizes of interval 10. So I'll give myself a little bit of room here. Let's see, our data goes from 108 to 165. So we'll do 100 to 110, 110 to 120, 120 to 130, 130 to 140, 140 to 150, 150 to 160, and finally 160 to 170. We need to mark how many of each time there are. Alright, let's do 100 to 110. I see 108, that's 1. That's it. Okay, next up will be 110 to 120. I don't see any in that range, so we'll put a 0 there. Next will be 120 to 130. So let's see, 120 to 130. Appears there are also just one of those, the 123. Next, 130 to 140. That's 1, 2, 3. If you notice, there is a 140, but it doesn't go with that group. It goes in the 140 to 150. The smaller one stays in the group, the bigger one does not. So 140 to 150, 1, 2, 3. And then 150 to 160, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 160 to 170, we have 1, 2 for 2 in that category. So this is what your frequency distribution table should look like. Now F says construct a stem and leaf plot for the data. Okay, same idea here. We know we have something in the 100 range, in the 120, 130, 140, 150, and 160. We didn't have anything in the 110 area, so I didn't have any reason to do that there. So we had 108, I believe. Whoop. Try that again. Okay, so 108 is the only one with the stem of 10, so 108. There was nothing with the stem 11, so 12, we had 123. 13, okay, we're looking for 3 of these. So let's see, there's a 4, a 9, and a 1. Put those in order. Okay, we're looking for 3 140s as well. 108. In the 150s, 1 3 1 4 5. So let's see, 1 3 1 4 5. So that'll be 1 1 3 4 5. And then in the 160s, there's just 2 of them. That's 164 and 165. So we put a 4 and a 5. That's what the stem and leaf plot should look like. Finally, we need to construct a histogram using the data. We'll do the same intervals as we had in the frequency distribution. So in fact, tell you what, I'll just try to drag this down so we can see it better. As we make this histogram. Okay, a histogram is like a bar plot or a bar graph, but it has ranges. So we're going to go 100 to 110 to 120 to 130 to 140 to 150 to 160 to 170, and it never goes higher than 5. So I'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so from 100 to 110, there's just 1. So I'll draw a bar that goes up to 1. There's none from 110 to 120, so no bar there. From 120 to 130, there will be 3. So it gets a bar that's 3 units high. 140 to 150. Oh, sorry, I did that. Got ahead of myself. 120 to 130, there's just 1 again. And then 130 to 140, there's 3. 140 to 150, there's 3 again. 150 to 160, we go all the way up to 5. Then 160 to 170, we have 2. So that's what the histogram would look like. Use a bar graph, but each bar represents a range of values. Okay, number 3, this will be the last one for this video. I'll do the rest on the next video. Using the frequency distribution table pictured, answer the following question. List the class limits for the data. The limits are just the boundaries, so we have one at 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and 110. The class marks, just remember M means midpoint, so the marks are the midpoints. So that would be 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, and 105. Okay, in what range is most people's pulse rate? If you wanted to say 80 to 90, that would be true. But it looks like, to me, these 3 categories are pretty full. So I would probably say 60 to 90. I'd also accept 70 to 90 or 80 to 90. If you put that, I think that would be fair. But almost all of them fall in the 60 to 90 range, so that's why I chose that. Estimate the mean pulse rate. All right, here's how you do that. You assume that things average out to the middle. So we assume on average people in this group have a rate of 45, In this one, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, and 105. Then we need to multiply each one of those by the number that there are in the category. So there's only 1 in that 40 to 50 range, so we do 45 times 1 and get 45. There are 5 in the 55 category, so do 5 times 55. 12 times 65. 18 times 75. 23 times 85. 9 times 95. 4 times 105. Now we add all those together. 45 plus 275 plus 780 plus 1350 plus 1955 plus 855 plus 420. And let's see, we had a total of 72 people surveyed. So we find the average by doing 5680 divided by 72 to find out that the average heart rate is 78.89. So when we estimate the mean, we just assume that on average people are in the middle of their ranges. Use that to find the total and then divide by the number of people in this case. Okay, estimate the median pulse rate. So again, there are 72 people, so we're looking for number 36. So here's the first person right here. Then add 5 more to have 6 total. Then 12 more is 18 total. Then 18 more is 36. So it should be right here, which would be between 70 and 80 and 80 and 90. So it should be right there at 80. And finally, how many people were surveyed for this data? Well, we already had to figure that out. We just add up the frequencies and we get 72 people. Okay, the rest of this will be on video 2.